This episode is brought to you by RIXX Eyewear. Eyewear that inspires confidence. If you would like to buy some premium eyewear, sunglasses, blue light frames, prescription, head online now, rixxeyewear.com.au and check it out. CAPZ has been Australia's home of headwear since 2012. From snapback to fitted, curve peak to flat peak, our hats will fit anyone and everyone. Since then, we've grown and evolved into the leaders of US sports apparel in Australia. Head online at capz.com.au and check it out. Righto, let's get into the show. What's been happening, big fella?
Not much. What's been happening? Same old, really. Bit of squashy. Trying to finish my MBA, which has taken a fair few years, and it's a pain in the ass, but we're getting there on that, and that's about it, really.
Still, that's very good. So uni's hard when you're playing footy because you do were you doing 1 or 2 units?
One per trimester, but I think sort of similar to you, sitting down at a desk for 3 hours trying to study is not really my forte. So it was a pain in the ass, but I've got 2 subjects to go, so nearly there.
Yeah, that's good. Well done. I gave up, mate. I did I think I did 11 units and I tapped out and started RIXX after that. I just couldn't sit there any longer. I used to find uni, like I was pretty quiet.
Yeah.
You know, naturally I'm not, but I was just not really in my habitat, didn't know anyone, and I used to love the toots because everyone would start these discussions. There's some unique characters in the toots afterwards, and they're talking about certain points, but can't see myself going back. Well, mate, what like with squash, what's been going on there? Like I can see something right in front of my eyes. It's beautiful. It's the new collection, isn't it?
I brought this in for you, mate.
Oh, mate.
You've sorted me out over the years plenty of times.
Look at this. Recycled plastic as well. They do it all down here.
Biodegradable.
You got the sports sweat top. Thanks, mate. Really appreciate that. I've seen Dommy Tyson rocking it. In fact, speaking of Dommy Tyson, we're ready to go today. Have a look at us in the clutching coat.
We're rocking it. I think what have I got underneath here? I've got the...
I didn't really... Oh, you got the...
I got the polo too, so...
I was thinking about rocking the polo as well.
Dommy's doing very well. I'm
calling the quarter zip. I think it's the blue Marley he calls it, this one. This is the high performance, mate. You hit the ball a bit longer with this on.
Do you boys work in the same little office there?
Yeah, same office.
That'd be dangerous on a Friday afternoon.
Dommy's great. We haven't had many, because he's playing VFL. So once VFL's done, I said to Dommy, get rid of that, mate. Give it the flick. So we get Watsy in.
What are you doing, Dommer?
There's a rooftop there as well, which goes off for beers and that. But we haven't really touched it.
Yeah.
I reckon I've had 10 beers there.
Sheephers.
In one stop. We had one little stint there, and then that's it. I haven't really had a chance. But
I'll come down one Friday and we'll change that pretty quickly.
Yeah, we'll get you a little cue card on the door so you can slide yourself up to the rooftop. So what's happening in the squash land, mate? And what's your, what is your role these days? What are you doing there?
Yeah, so squash going very well. So I started it while I was playing footy, similar to you. 2 of my best mates, we started together, and then obviously I was playing footy. Our designer, he was sort of head art creative or something at Lee and Wrangler when we started it, and while she was like our director, he pretty much ran the show while we were playing footy and while Stubby was off doing his thing. And then, when I finished up, I came on board, and then we got Stubby on board full time, which was a big change. And then now I just run our like wholesale business, sales, and just sort of trying to learn more about, the whole business as a collective. So run our collaborations, whether that's with Gage Roads doing a little merchandise short or Oz American Aces with Tommy Sheridan, who knows what we could do. But yeah, it's good fun, but it's amazing just learning more about it. It's beforehand you sort of think, you make the shorts for this, you sell them for this, you make that, and away you go, sort of thing. And I'm sure, as you know, there's a lot more to it than that.
Oh, there's a few hidden costs in there, isn't there?
That's for sure.
That's great. You're doing unbelievable things. It's been good to follow the journey the whole time. I don't know how many pairs I've got of squashies. They come out in especially in Sydney. They came out a lot. All the boys are rocking them there, and to see you going into clothing as well, which is so. This is the latest collection. Just on it was like tennis inspired, wasn't it?
Yeah,
the photo shoot. It was
sort of like a sports rec club.
Yeah.
So that was just obviously with a swimwear brand, it's pretty sort of trans-seasonal, and So trying to get a bit of revenue coming in during winter.
Yeah.
So we brought out the sweats. And that's sort of what I'm excited about the most. You know, as you say, like you've probably got 10 pairs of shorts, you know, so you're not really going to buy any more at the moment, are you? And a lot of our customers are probably similar. So we're going into sort of bringing out some terry towel range, bringing out some linen, bringing out some of this sort of stuff, a little sort of porn star robe, you know.
Yeah.
So just getting into a few other things, which has got me excited, especially as like our sort of salesman. You know, I can actually go and sell other things, have other things to talk about. So yeah, that's exciting. That's sort of all on the way. But then with that comes, you know, bloody cash flow issues and all the rest of it, you know, and we're going into David Jones this summer, which will be exciting. But they sort of screw you over and bend you over backwards, and you know they got you on 90-day terms.
They love them. They get all your margins.
Shocking. And then you know you don't see cash for 90 days after delivery. So we front the order, 50 grand, 100 grand purchase order, and then that takes 2-3 months to make, and then you deliver it, and then you don't see any cash for another 3 months. So you're sort of out of pocket. So all this sort of fun stuff that we're going through at the moment. So
who runs the finances? Who's doing that?
So Walshy, So
that's Walshy's headache.
Yeah, Walshy's the guru. He's sort of the director. Runs the show. He manages all that, which, geez, I don't envy him at all. It's a bit of a nightmare, but.
It's good though, mate. Like you need those blokes, and with all the stores. So you're literally calling all the stores. You handle all of them.
Yeah. So I do. Yeah, all our wholesale business. So we've probably got maybe 55 stores now.
Yeah, nice.
Around Australia.
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
I reckon we're in like 30.
Yep.
And we loaded up like I think it's 2020. Our strategy was like just before it's all about wholesale now.
Yep.
Like everyone wants to try Sonny's on. We've done well online.
Yep.
Let's get him in store. So we went out and, you know, splurged on stands and all this stuff. 2020 hits, 2021 hits. It's kind of taken a back hit. And all the stores, some of them really went down. Some of them recovering. Trying to get a new brand in a store it's hard work, isn't it?
Absolutely.
What's the pitch, mate? What do you say to him? Give me some tips, big boy.
No, well, I think I need to get some tips off you. I'm hearing about these new stands and all the selling points. That's what we need to get into.
Mate, the point of sale.
I
don't know if you want it, mate. You're better off just slapping them on the ground and just getting them selling them.
Well, it's funny. We sort of had a big change of strategy. You know, when I first came on, it was all, you know, we want to be cool and boutique, and so you don't want to go into, you know, David Jones, for instance, or Myers or whatever. You know, you want to be unique in these little weird stores around the place. And then I ended up getting this mentor. He's CEO of Sea Folly. He's a ripping dude, but he basically said, like, they're wholesale. They're in 800 doors or something around Australia, and 90% of them are through 6 accounts. So if you can get these like big, you know, one-off accounts that have 15, 20 doors, all of a sudden, like when you're doing, you know, emails and calls for a store out in Yakandanda, Country Vic, and you're working your ass off, and finally you get a $600 order. It's like, is that really worth it, putting 3 hours of your week to get a $600 order when David Jones come in and, you know, give you a $150,000 order with one whack? So, we've sort of changed the strategy a little bit, so it'll be interesting to see how we go over the next couple of years.
You can be more efficient. You're dealing with less people. You're moving more units. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Spot on.
It is tough. Anyone out there that wants to put squashies or RIXX in a store, well, you know who to hit up with. We'll put our details in the show notes, and away we go. It's great, mate. Well, while we're on squash, there's been some huge names. I know Ed Sheeran's the first one that comes to mind. Didn't even have to study for that. I still remember that. How did all that come about? Because I love the spotted. That's my thing for RIXX. I just want to get him on the big dogs.
Yeah.
Who's how did Ed Sheeran get the squashies?
So Ed Sheeran was through like our PR agency that we used for a while, 1-2 agency. The girls down there do a great job. Tessa, who runs that, her hubby, I think they're married. I'm pretty sure they're married, but they've just had a little one anyway.
They're married then.
Yeah, that's it, basically. Brett, he works at Mushroom Studios, and then through his contacts, we knew the tour manager or something for Ed, and then, you know, we just basically load the truck up and just hope for the best, give them whatever they want, and then, he's posting all these photos wearing it, and then his manager got back to us saying he loves it. Can you get more and all this kind of stuff? So we were like, shit, we were trying to, milk it for everything it's worth. If he wants a one-off custom design, we can do that. If he wants this, but that's sort of how that happened. It's interesting when that happens, isn't it? Like Ben Simmons and D'Angelo Russell. Like, I'm an NBA man.
So is he rocked him? Has he?
He's rocked him, yeah.
I've seen Benny Simmons on the date with Kendall. That was I got the exact same pair at the same time. Yeah. I'm like, they're elite.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's amazing. Like, from when you start and you're pushing shit uphill trying to sell a couple of pairs, and then all of a sudden you're seeing these people that you idolise.
It gets you going, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it's like a little fix.
Yep.
It's like we had Jason Tatum wear the RIXXs last week and messaged his stylist 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, man, he's going to wear him in the NBA finals. Yep. Like I'm talking the early in the finals.
Yeah.
So I'm telling everyone. And then by the end, I'm cheering for Boston. I'm like, come on, I need them to win because he wasn't wearing them. I'm like, he's going to wear them soon. Like, he's going to roll in and he's going to be wearing them. And, they take all the photos. Yep. And I'm telling everyone. And then because we sent him the kitchen sink as well. My business partner's just like, mate, you fucking sure you sent him the right address? And I'm like, mate, I swear to God, he's got them. Like, he's going to wear them. And then they obviously lose. He hasn't rocked them. And I'm like, fuck. And then out of nowhere, goes to some big party and all white party. And he's got the old.
I saw that.
Yeah, he's got the wolf grey orbits on. And he's with OBJ, who's rocked them as well. I'm like,
that's OBJ was loving him. He was shouting them out and everything too.
Yeah. He's putting videos up and that stuff.
How'd you get that?
Well, that was actually Matty Suckling and Jared Bowman. They're good mates with Brad Wingy.
Oh yeah.
And Wingy and them are good mates. And we just sent a box back in, I think it was 2016.
Yep.
Yeah, and they must have just ripped the box open, and he must have just went through all of them for the next 3 months. Yep. He was just rocking them everywhere.
He was loving them, wasn't he?
It was so good.
And the best thing, the hard thing with those guys is you don't want to pressure them. You can't say, but the difference of them just wearing them to them giving it a shout out or giving your brand a bit of a pump up, isn't it? It's worlds apart.
Worlds apart. People talk about it all the time. They don't tag. You don't get. I don't know. How did you go with sales? I didn't feel like our sales moved any high. It wasn't that product sold out or anything. It was just
exactly.
Everyone would speak to you and go, "How's it going?" and mention it straight away.
That's right. It gives you the ability to sort of take that elsewhere and go, look, this is who's wearing them. It gives you a bit of credibility or whatever. But yes, as you said, sales, if you don't get that tag or whatever, I reckon the biggest spike we ever had was with the Judds when Juddy wore them and Beck actually gave him a shout out. And because with us, 70% of our sales are from women. And so when I think she put up a photo of Juddy and the kids in a couple of pairs of squash and tagged it. That was the first time I'd seen a proper actual spike.
Yeah,
she's just the queen of social media, isn't she? But and
that's what you want to see. It's real. It's real influence.
Yeah,
there's been a couple of fizzes in my time, mate. I go, look at this. What's going on here?
Yeah, and you put a lot of effort into it. And you go,
effort's through the roof.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so much fun though. I call it fishing, especially with the if you send us a celebrity in America, some sunnies and some squashies. And it doesn't. But once you land it, it's finally. Yeah, it's like fishing, mate. Sometimes it never pops up. But and then the parties. I've got mail here, but I've never been to one. I've always been at interstate. But you were the squashy promoter. The boys, the D's boys, used to just lick their lips. Talk to me about the parties, how you set them up, and your favourite ones.
Yeah. So this was sort of my favourite part of the business. Obviously, COVID put a bit of a stop to that for a while, but hopefully we'll get back into it soon. But yeah, we ended up throwing some pretty good ones. So I think the first one was the Portsea Polo.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we had about 130, 150 down there and just put on a show. And then back to the Sorrento pub, and the Pit boys just helped us out there. Didn't organise anything, Portsea Polo Day, and Miles just came down, opened the bottom door, and 100 of us rolled into this the pub, which was $100 a ticket or something.
That's what you want, don't you?
Oh, they're so good.
Here's the cash, just open the doors.
Exactly. But then from there, I guess I knew the owner of Riva, just down on the St Kilda foreshore there, so he helped us out a lot. So I think the first one we just had 300, maybe 300 or 400. And then we threw another one, and we got it up to about 800, 900 people ticketed. I think it was $100,000 we made, or 110. And then it all just goes back into your talent, your music, your setup.
Yeah.
Walshy sort of hates him because he's doing a lot of the organising and I'm just going, mate, we'll sell the tickets, don't worry. And he's going, we cannot do this. We're going to have no cash.
You sound like me and Mum. I'm just like, let's just spend cash. He's like, mate, fucking rein it in, mate.
Literally. And that's the thing, like, I don't know if you've got, your business partner's probably the same, but, you do need a team because if I was running the show, we would be fucking broke.
Oh, 100%.
We would
Colin
be
knows
done.
that. He's the opposite. Yeah, he runs it. He's good with the operations and finances.
Exactly.
So I've got no idea.
Exactly. I'm just like, mate, let's just spend, just go for it. It'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. And he's just sitting there pulling his hair out, stressing. But
because they are expensive events, and you got to be careful because it's like this, like you said. Sometimes you're throwing the party, you're having fun, but at the end of the day, if you're just losing cash, sometimes it's not even worth doing it, is it?
Exactly. And I mean, for me, I was probably fucking pissed by 10 a.m. and I had a great day. But while she's running around, I can remember we had like licensing issues with one of them because the guy, Drew, who owns Reaver, he sort of gave it to us, oh, yeah, you can just have the outdoor area. But, we ended up having 900 people there. And then it's like cops are coming down. Have you got licenses for this? And we were like, shit, we don't know. And then so while she's running around, I'm blind. I'm like fucking having the best time of my life. So I remember he had to run down to the servo or something, get some little piece of paper, print it off and fake that we had some liquor licenses.
Oh, that's unreal.
So yeah, it was... some good times. They were good fun. And then it's the whole thing. Do you actually get some value out of it? That's what Walshy looks at.
You would, surely. I think you would. I mean, did you have a photographer, videographer?
Yeah.
Did you film the whole thing? I feel like it's almost your summer campaign.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I push. And Stubby's the same. Our designer, Stubby's loose as all hell. And,
the creative.
That's right. He's covered in tats and loves a good time. And like for me, that's what our brand is about. And that's sort of why we started it. We want to have fun and we want to relax and, enjoy ourselves and not take ourselves too seriously. And those events and the parties and stuff, that was sort of, a big reason for why we started, and now it's been 2 years or 3 years since we've done it, so I'm gonna have to try to convince Walshy to free up some budget for the next one.
I mean, I'm trying to plan a few now, so I mean, I've never done one before. Like we've done a couple in Perth, but never done one in Melbourne.
Yep.
And being from Victoria, like I've always wanted to, but it's spring carnival. Like good luck.
Yeah.
We might be doing one, but the ones you've done before. They look pretty good, especially
we'll have a chat, mate.
100%.
See what we can do.
Well, that's the thing. If you just spread the load, everyone just get there. With 900, we'll turn that into 1,800.
Pretty comfortably.
And now, look, I've got a good mail that Gussie Brayshaw just... he puts... Dommy Tyson's fed me some mail. I love Dommy. Like, look at us. We're in the clutching code. Yeah. We're looking sharp, Dommy. And there's some big news coming at Clutch. Everyone listening and watching. We've got the spring-summer launch.
Stop it.
Clutch & Co. have some new quarter zips coming, and they're very good. They're very nice.
Well, I've seen the new polos, like the coloured polos, which I need to get my hands on. I'm literally my whole wardrobe and all my mates are just decked in Clutch. It's the best, like honestly, the best quality golf gear,
isn't it?
At incredible prices. I think Dommy needs to hike them up a little bit, but
that's what I said to him.
Oh, he has to.
I go, mate, just chuck them up like $6. He goes, nah, like I don't know, man. I'm like, mate, you're selling them for $50. I'd spend 120 on this.
That's right. Exactly.
That's how good it is, though. It's cheap as chips.
Yep.
It's premium quality, and you've got he's got everything now.
I've got the shorts on. These shorts are unbelievable.
Well, I got the
lightweight.
I got the pants on, mate. Look at the lightweight, and they're like stretch.
Yep.
And I wear his his chinos. You can wear them out.
Yep.
When you're having a beer, so you literally go straight from the course to the pub.
He's done very well. But what, he's giving you some...
So I just asked him a bit of mail, and he goes, mate, he reckons Gussie Brayshaw was putting on a clinic. He was putting on a clinic, and I thought, oh, that's great. I'll ask him about Gus, and I want to know who else. After you talk about, actually, you just touch on Gus because I got a following question afterwards.
Well, I mean, good timing after he's just signed the big
hasn't he actually? Yeah,
6-year bloody multi-million-dollar.
He might be able to invest in the squash parties.
He could buy us out, I reckon. Gussie was, it's funny, like probably not like the loosest bloke, that you'd know, but then when he gets going, he'll choose his moments and he just. He's flicks the switch. So he was definitely, there was one party, I think he actually was hooking up with one of my best mates' older sisters who I'd had a crush on forever, and Gussie just came in and went bang. But yeah,
That hurts.
he just gets loose. And then there was another one after he'd done his leg. This wasn't at a squash party, but he'd done his foot and he was in a boot or something. And we went round to this old Melbourne supporters place and we were having a few reds and one turned into 3, turned into 5. Ended up having about 8 bottles between 4 of us, I think. And I just remember Brayshaw like running down the street, just coming out of surgery after his foot. And I was like, it's probably not the best thing to be doing, getting ready to try and come up for a pre-season. But no, he enjoys himself when he gets going, big Gussie.
Yeah, he's a good man. Haven't had a lot of beers with him, but we had a good night at the AFL, the review when you do the dances and all that.
Yeah.
The grand final party or whatever it was. He was there and like we were just, I think he was I think he was on the red actually. Yes. And he was smashed, mate. This is years ago actually. And I look back, it was him and Clayton was there and they're all dominating now. It's like, fuck, it's so good to see. Yeah. They were so young then as well.
Exactly. And that's the funny thing for me, like looking at them, it's, I can remember them when they were those young, struggling sort of, Clayton sort of came in and was pretty solid early on, but, even Christian and Gussie and those boys, Harmsy coming in from a boy from Clyde, Melbourne supporter, he was also one of the best on all the time at all the events, but just like those boys, seeing them where they were in the beginning of their career and now watching them, Gussie signing 6-year deal, Clayton signing. What did he sign?
I think he's 2030.
2030, so 8 years extension or whatever. Like
he has 40 every week, man.
Every week.
He literally would have 38 every week.
He's ridiculous.
He's an absolute bull. So this is my question now that I was excited. So you can only invite 5 blokes to the squash party. Who would those 5 blokes be from previous performances?
From footy.
Probably from footy,
Footy. All right. Well, Gussie, Brayshaw would sort of have to come.
He takes one rank?
He would take one. Gorney would take another because Gorney's sort of been, he's been our number 1 ambassador for a number of years. And he likes to have a good time, the big fella, and he'd probably get on the decks too and try and show us some skill there. I'd say Harmsy would probably have to come. Yeah.
The big nut gets 3.
The big nut.
He's the best.
He's just so good, isn't he? It was so, when I heard about that, the whole sort of thing, when they had that big dust up at, who was it, Maisie and Jakey Malcolm. You literally could have picked the 6 or 7 blokes that were there, couldn't you? Like Harmsy, Fritter, Jakey Malcolm, Maisie, Hibbo.
All the lads.
All those boys, yeah. Hibbo would probably have to be close.
He's a good man.
He'd have to come
he gets
in.
4. So who's the 5th? There's only one more.
One more. Far out. Who else would come?
Jack Watts, top 5. It's a tough decision.
It's a tough one, that last spot. I mean, maybe just to sort of balance it out, I'd have to bring my great mate, Jack Trengove.
Yeah.
He'd just come along and make sure no one died.
You need those blokes.
That's right. You need those blokes. He'd still go all night long. He'd still be there at stumps, but he would just make sure that, we didn't do something stupid that we would regret.
Your business partner would love to see him at the event.
Exactly.
You need some brains around the joint.
Spot on.
That's great, mate. And what are the plans for the rest of the year with squash? Are there anything else, any other exciting news coming up?
Other than the David Jones stuff, we've got a couple of good collaborations going. So Gage Roads, beer company brewery over in Perth. We've got a good little collaboration with them going. Vegemite, we've got a good collaboration, which we started a couple of years ago. Other than that, we're hoping to sort of get over, so I guess now that travel's opening up a little bit, we've just been speaking to a rep over in the US. So that's probably the next little venture is sort of something like that. And then also, I guess we're looking at raising some cash too because, as I said before, cash flow's slowly becoming a bit of an issue. And if we keep, if we get a few more of these orders, such like David Jones and Hudson's Bay over in Canada, we just got in over there and, they sort of string up your cash. So, a few things happening, but I think, getting overseas would be the next one.
Well, mate, hopefully we time it together because we both love our American sports. Yeah, and you love your sports. I mean, I'll stay up late all the time, and I'll flick the TV on, and he's going live on the F1s. He loves it, mate. If I'm watching the golf, it's like 3 a.m. I'm like, fuck, surely no one else is up. You're up.
I'm up. If it's golf, I'll tell you what, golf, like footy's, if I'm being honest, I can't stand footy, AFL footy. Look, I love my mates and I'll watch, if the Ds or whatever make the finals. But talk to me about fucking golf, F1s, NBA. That's like my 3 sort of passions. I'll be watching that every single week. The F1s have just got me with our good friend Mel over there, working for Mercedes Petronas. It's just like taking it to a new level. So, yeah, I'm up every Saturday watching qualifying, every Sunday watching the race. Golf, I mean, even, I could,
Live around the corner as well.
Yeah.
It's coming to Melbourne, I heard.
It has to be. The Great White Shark.
Yeah, the Sharks, I think he's pulled it through.
He's bringing it over to Royal Melbourne, surely.
Played yesterday at Northern. Big shout out to Heath. He's the pro down there. He played with us, I was telling you. He's fixed me slice.
Yep. We'll see today.
We'll see today, actually, after this. In the quarter top, Blue Marley there. No, he reckons that it's coming to Melbourne.
Actually?
Yeah.
See, and this is why, like,
it's going to be crazy.
Live golf, obviously, I get the the protesters. I understand where they're all coming from, but imagine, like, golf is so dominated by America, right? Why? Why is it just the Americans? Yeah, I get that they've got, most of the good players and whatever, but imagine having a world tournament at Royal Melbourne or at Peninsula Kingswood where we're about to play the Savo, like, getting the world's best players down here because they just don't do it.
I know.
But the Great White Shark, he's got that little sort of resentment towards the PGA. He doesn't give a fuck. They screwed him over. He choked, and he's had, they all hate him, and they didn't get him across the 150th anniversary, and he's going, fuck you all. I'm bringing Live Golf over to Australia, make it worldwide. I'm sort of a fan, to be honest. So, and like everyone's saying, these guys, like, oh, how could they go across? How could they? It's like, if anyone offered you 150 million as a sign-on bonus.
Sign-on.
As a sign-on. You don't even have to do anything.
Rock up. Folks just leave after the sign-ons.
Seriously.
It's unbelievable. I reckon it's going to, it's a shotgun start, isn't it? So, So watching it, you know what it's like. I mean, these late nights, I can't keep up with these late nights. Like even the Masters, not the Masters, the one that just gone, the Open, man. I couldn't keep my eyes open. I fell asleep at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
I've missed the end.
Yeah.
I'm burning. I've missed Smitty. I'm literally fighting. My eyes are like closing on me. But at least with a shotgun start, you got 4 hours and
Yep.
I can't wait. It's I'm super pumped for that. And back to Mel, the F1.
Yeah.
So I've only messaged a couple people. I'm pretty cruisy these days. Go in. I've had a few beers with you, so I don't need to do too much prep.
Yeah.
But I go, just give me some dirt. I go to Mel, give me some dirt on Watsy. And she's like, what dirt do you want? And I'm like, well, fuck, I don't know. Like, whatever you got. Clearly, I can't bring up the bloody X-rated stories. And she goes, I've got nothing for you then.
That's exactly
So she's
right.
burnt me. That's how strong the loyalty is. So, mate, she's looked after you.
Yeah, Mel was, she was one of the best, wasn't she? Like, working with her, obviously PC, you had him on the podcast recently, the great man. But Mel was sort of the heartbeat of that whole organisation. So we were so close. And I can still remember, like, obviously my last couple of years of footy, I was fucking hating it and ready to retire for about the last 4 or 5 years. And me and Mel would just talk all the time, fuck, I can't wait to just get out of here, go travel. And she, obviously eventually ended up leaving, and she said, I'm going over to the UK. And she was always the one that got me into F1s, and she loved it. And I can still remember having a conversation with her, like, I guarantee you'll go over there, you'll meet some contact, you'll get an interview, you'll end up working with fucking Lewis Hamilton and these guys, having beers with them. And now she's literally doing that every fucking week. It's like,
how good. She's carting Tom Brady around. I'm like,
that photo.
She sent me that. She goes, I got something to show you. I go, just show me. And she goes, I can't send it yet. And I'm like one of those blokes, like, if you give me a little bit of that, I'm going, just send it to me. I can't stop thinking now. Like, show me it. She goes, all right, you ready? I'm like, fucking her and Tom Brady. Like, she's looking after him at the Miami bloody Open, whatever it's called, the
Crazy.
F1. I'm like, are you serious? And I was the same, mate. When she was in London, she's obviously gone over there, and she was a bit think she was, we were chatting heaps as well, and she's a bit scared. She's not really getting any contacts. And I'm like, even I was scrapping. I'm like, I'll see who I can contact, and found someone. It was a shitty F1 contact. The next minute, she's like, I've got one with Mercedes. Fast forward, and she's dominating. She's been there for 2 or 3 years now, hasn't she?
Yeah, she's doing so well. I was actually, it's a funny story. She, the year when it was coming over here and COVID stopped the Grand Prix in Melbourne, I think her boss had just like broken up with some guy and he was going to be here. And so she called me and she said, look, my boss is coming over here. Her ex-boyfriend's going to be here. She wants like a stand-in big Aussie bloke to be like a fake boyfriend for the weekend.
6'5" and full of muscle. Good on the bench press.
And I was like, sign me up. And like, especially she goes, oh, you'll have to come to all the events and you'll have to, oh, damn, okay, if I have to. And then, obviously COVID screwed all that up. So it was...
that is a stitch up.
I know. So I'm still holding on to the, hopefully... next year.
Hopefully they still need a sugar daddy.
That's right.
Fuck, that is unreal, mate. That's great. Well, yeah, NBA. We'll talk NBA all day about that when it's back, no doubt. Now, growing up, I want to go back to go forward now. When you grew up, like where did you grow up? And
Grew up in Sandringham. So I was born in Sydney, actually. Born up there. Dad was up there for work just for a year and then came down here. Grew up in Sandy, went to Brighton Grammar, just had the, had a pretty good upbringing, to be honest. Just very lucky, had a great family, was pretty decent at sport, basketball and footy, was pretty much, all I did until I got drafted. So sport was a huge part of it. Friends, had a great group of mates that we sort of stayed. We're still really close.
Xavier?
Went to Brighton.
Brighton. School.
Yes.
I know he's played school footy and all that. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's a sin, me, saying Brighton.
Xavier. I was going over there. We're going to play golf with Dossie. He was a Xavier boy after this. But, good little rivalry there. But
there's something with the private school footy and the boys. They're very tight. It's pretty elite.
Yeah, it is. And that's honestly, if I look back, like one of my big regrets is, I got drafted end of year 11. So I didn't actually get to finish, in year 12. I was sort of half playing footy, half not. I didn't get to play school footy in my year 12 year, which, we had a pretty bloody good team. And I look back, and that's sort of one thing I really regret, not actually finishing that off properly. But
that's what Paul, like when I had Paulie Connors on, that's what he said. He thought that you probably should have just finished that out in hindsight and let you develop and take a little bit more pressure off you, because there's we'll talk about the first game and all that.
Yeah.
But being 17 and going to a club that's going okay, but it's not. It wouldn't be easy.
No,
I got my cousin. He's 17. I couldn't imagine him running around right now with some of the bulls of AFL. Like it's full on what you did.
Yeah. It's so funny. Like you look back on it now and you go, "Fuck, that is just ridiculous." But at the time, I guess it was sort of like that year we sort of knew I was probably going to go 1 or 2 sort of thing, and you sort of think, you may as well take the opportunity while it's there, and you never know what could happen. You do a knee the next year and blah, blah, blah. But in hindsight, you look back and you sort of go, shit, I'm sure it probably would have worked out just fine, and you might have dropped a couple of spots, but, you'd be a bit more ready for it. You'd have your year 12 year under your belt. And I think they changed the rule after that year to,
so it can't happen again.
So you couldn't get drafted when you were in year 11, but... Yeah, I mean, you go down and you watch like a school game now. I watch a school game, year 12s, and they look like little tiny kids, right?
Yeah.
And then you think, that's how old I was when I was going out there on the G for the first time. So,
and everyone's expecting literally, Chris Judd performances. Pick one, he's going to dominate.
And I think the position that the club was in too, they were just struggling. They had nothing, and so they would just hang their hat on, we got this number 1 pick. He's going to blah, blah, blah. And then we were dog shit for the next 7 years.
Well, that's the problem. It's a bit like that in the, I look at the NFL and NBA a little bit as well, and I'm always like, why doesn't the first quarterback off the thing go well? They go to the worst team because obviously they got pick 1. So it's like the ones that can get, they get picked up a little bit later in the first round. They go straight to a nice club. It's in the sweet spot. They're on the way up.
Yep.
just impact straight away because they've got less responsibility and you know, less load on the shoulders. So it is interesting the pressure that goes with pick one. Before we go to your first game, but you used to be a superstar basketball. Like you were very good at basketball. Well, where did you decide that you're going to take footy over basketball?
Yeah, it was an interesting one. I think basketball was sort of my first love, you know, first passion, and basketball gets a lot more serious early on than footy does. And so, yeah, that was sort of what I was focusing on, and then footy was a bit of fun, and, you know, you'd go out there with your mates, and then I think what happened was I made like what did I make? The 18s basketball team bottom age, and then I was in the 16s footy team, the state squads, and then I broke my collarbone, so it was like end of year 10. Broke my collarbone and missed everything that year, so I missed out on all the, you know, on both things. And I think after that, and then I got offered a scholarship to the AIS in Canberra for basketball, and I was 15, 16, and I don't know, I was enjoying school too much, enjoying being with my mates. And the whole, like, it's funny looking back now because, like, me and you, we probably give anything to go over to college in America and play, you know. But back then I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to leave my mates, and I don't want to, you know. And so I sort of looked at footy like, I can stay here with my family, with my friends in Australia, and, you know, that was sort of it. And, you know, down the track you look back and you go, shit, 4 years in North Carolina or at some college over there in the States would have been good fun, and then come back here. But yeah, that was sort of, I think that was sort of when it happened. And then I guess after the 18s carnival, when I played the footy 18s carnival.
And you kicked the sealer after the siren, didn't you? I remember the video.
Yeah, kicked that. You
dominated.
Big country, yeah, played pretty well. I kicked like 23 goals 2 or something for the tournament. So, you know, if you
Dead-eye dick.
Dead-eye dick. If you change that to sort of 10 goals 10, it might have been a different story. But yeah, played pretty well. We won the thing, and you know, that's the thing. It helps when you're on the best team and you're, you know, dominating, and then yeah. So after that, it was sort of like the talk was, yeah, you're going to get drafted pretty high, and whereas with basketball, there was probably still a long way to go, and
bit of grey area, not sure what's going to happen.
Yeah, so.
What do you reckon would have happened?
Oh, it's too hard to tell. I mean, the funny thing was back then, you know, the pathway for Aussies was, you know, it basically didn't exist. Like we had Bogut, I think, was sort of, you know, and obviously like Andrew Gaze, Shane Hill, those guys had done it, and then Bogut. But like I was at camps, Aussie camps and stuff with like Paddy Mills and Joe Ingles and Dellavedova and those sort of guys. They were a bit older than me, but they hadn't sort of got over there yet. So it was really unknown, and it was a bit like it doesn't really happen. Whereas all of a sudden, like that whole generation just...
They're all balling.
They all just went, and it was like, I think the AIS had this, because they all went to the AIS on scholarship. They had that connection with St Mary's over there, the college. So they all went and played at St Mary's. Paddy Mills dominated, goes to the NBA. Dellavedova, same thing, St Mary's for a couple of years, NBA.
Could have been you and the King, mate.
And then I just see Delhi signing a $60 million deal, winning championships with the King. It's like, fuck. But, you know.
You were literally like, you were balling with these boys.
Yeah, so, yeah, balling with Delhi. He was a year older than me, I think. And then Paddy and those boys were the next age group above. So
that's so cool.
We'd be on that court, they'd be on the other. And like we'd just sit back afterwards watching Paddy Mills just draining threes, and you know
he's a star.
He's an animal, like absolute animal. But yeah, like I was sort of in that little, you know, in that space, I guess. But yeah, then footy sort of took over, and I let that go. But now I'm right back into it Tuesday nights.
Are you playing, are you?
Oh,
describe the game. What's your game? Because you're 6'5", you have good handles, you're quick.
Yeah, look, the handles have they're slowly coming back, but they basically disappeared. I could shoot. Like, I'll just shoot the rock. That's my thing. Just put it up, shoot a shoot, baby. And so, yeah, that's sort of my thing at the moment.
Are you dominating at the moment?
Oh, look, I wouldn't say dominating, just working my way into the season, but come finals time, it'll be game on. But it's like, honestly, it's like a passion. It's like my love, you know, like I have more fun playing Tuesday night basketball or playing golf today, you know, than I ever had fucking playing AFL footy, which is pretty, you know.
It's pretty weird to say that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's strange.
It's so intense, Like, you get anxiety. You get so much. There's so much that goes through the body and the mind.
Yeah.
Tuesday night basketball, geez, that brings back the good memories.
Oh, it's so
I haven't
good.
played basketball and I was playing a little bit of street ball in Sydney there when I finished it up, but I haven't played for so long.
Hey,
it's that much fun.
Come down for a little
I
filling.
need to warm the rig up, man. I got the Baker's cyst behind the right knee, mate. You were seeing me limping on the 18th today. It gets sore walking around the course.
Really?
That's all I messaged you on. We're getting carts. Me right knee's fucked, man.
This is like my exercise, walking 18. That's like my exercise for the week.
It's good, though. It's a good sweat. Well, we'll go to footy. I do want to ask you about that first game because I don't remember. I mean, I'm not a footy nuffy, but I just remember like you just getting tackled on the wing and it's just huge. There's just so much media around it, and I just remember like you just getting smashed, man. I'm like, fucking poor bastard. Like it was brutal the first game.
Yeah. See, I think the main thing you said there is like there was just so much media around it. So I really honestly, it didn't feel like that at all. It didn't feel like I got smashed. It was like it was a big tackle, and another bloke probably came in and they took me to ground when they maybe wouldn't have otherwise or whatever, but it wasn't as if I got smashed. But I think it was just like we got done by 70 points. You know, we got smashed, and then obviously, it's not the fairy tale start to what everyone was expecting. And so then they jump on this like, oh, he just got smashed in his first game by these Collingwood. It's like, it happens probably every single week to, you know, a bunch of blokes, but because it was me and, you know, we had a bloody press conference in the week leading up to my fucking first game saying, oh, he's going to do this and he's going to do that. Like, it just came across a bit differently. So, but yeah, I mean, my first 3 weeks, so I played Collingwood, we lost by 70. Next week, I think we played Bombers maybe, and we lost by another 10 goals, and then we played fucking Brisbane maybe and lost by almost 100. That was my first 3 games, and then broke my thumb and I was on ice for that first year. But not exactly.
Brutal start.
Yeah,
man.
not the start you really want. Yeah.
When you reflect now on footy, just in general, like what comes to mind?
Look, great journey, you know, like very character building, I guess you'd say. But yeah, I think I really lost that love early on for the game and you know, it's very hard to just give everything you've got and go that extra mile when you don't really love something or you're not into it. Do you know what I mean?
I do, man. I do. I lost it as well.
Yeah.
Last 2 years.
And so then you're not going to sit back and do the extras and you know, give your whole self to it. And if you're out on the Saturday night and you think, oh, maybe I should go home, maybe I shouldn't, it's like, well, fuck, I'm just going to stay out because it's not, you know, this means more to me. Like my mates and having a bit of fun was sort of by the end, it was, I don't know, just when it turns into such a grind and it was a job, and, you know, I loved the 2 hours on the weekend, don't get me wrong, like that was amazing. But just all the other stuff that goes with it and the meetings and the fucking politics and even just like the fucking macho, you know, like we got to be tough and you got to like the fucking boxing getting in there with like, we're going to be the toughest team. It's like, shut the fuck up. Like, I just hated all that stuff. It's just not me. Like, I'm the biggest softy fucking feminine dude you'll ever find. Like, so.
Just put me up forward and I'll take some hangs.
Like, it just wasn't for me. So. Anyway.
Fuck, we're very similar, mate. Yeah. I don't know how to box. I couldn't fight my way out of a wet paper bag, mate. And we went to the Giants. They do it well. At least they don't fucking hit you in the head. But we were doing boxing sessions and on the Saturday. And I don't know how to box. So, righto, boys, straight into it. So, like, combos and all that. And then it's like, righto, get a partner and it's just body blows.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, like some blokes can box.
Yeah.
And the blokes that are really good, they actually go easy.
Yeah.
It's the blokes that think they're good, they're fucking trying to break your ribs, mate. I'll tell you the best way to learn, just get belted. You start protecting yourself and it's like, oh, I can actually do this.
Oh, mate. I remember my first week at Melbourne, we were at Junction Oval in this little shitty, it's like a locker room, and we had this boxing session and, Watsy, you're in with Brock McLean. And so I'm in there as a 17-year-old with Brock McLean, and it's just full-blown sparring. And he's just going, bush. And so I'm pissing blood, and they're going, keep going. Just blood coming. I'm just arms up. And he probably was going easy because he could box, but he's still just going whack. And I'm like, fuck, here we go. This is... How much fun's this, you know?
where did I sign up to this?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it footy or boxing? No, it's you're right. And it's more the death by 1,000 cuts. You know, like the little things like your protocols on your phone, your screening every morning. Have you done your checkup?
Yeah.
Have you like be there on time just to like roll your back out? You're like, what the fuck? I've already done all that like I don't need it. All those little things, and then you start getting injured. You don't get picked. Coaches start lying to you a little bit. The politics. We've got to tell him this. All these things, and you're just like, fuck. I know exactly what you mean. Then it starts to get, like you said, you don't really get a fix. You don't enjoy it.
No.
It becomes a grind.
And I think especially, I don't know what you're like deep down, but I think, for me, I'm probably like quite an emotional sort of person, like I'd rather, talk about our feelings and get it out there and sort of blah, blah, blah. And the culture of footy, it's probably a bit different to that. So I always found it a bit difficult trying to fit in, I guess. And so then you actually try to change yourself, or you try to act a certain way to try to keep a coach happy, because you think all he wants to see is you, let's do those extra tackling drills after training, and let's do that extra because that's what they want to see, and it's like, fuck. Even though it's the last thing I want to do, but you try to,
What was your weak? My weaknesses were ground balls and tackling. And mate, I honestly reckon it's if I just fuck them off and just worried about me left and right leg, because I reckon I was a great kick inside 50.
Yep.
I never did any of that extras. All I would worry about is fucking tackling and ground balls, and it's the two things that are like, they're that different in a game. Like you can run at me, I'll tackle you all day a week. But once you start turning and I'm running flat chat, that happens on game day. And the ground balls, mate, the ball bubbles all over the joint.
And then it just gets in your head. So then
it?
you're running at someone and you're just thinking, fuck, if I miss this tackle, the coach is going to go off. I'll get dragged. And so then you go on pitter-patter step coming in, shoulder, you're thinking about all this stuff. It's like, I don't think Jack Viney's thinking about all that shit when he's going. He's just going, I'm going to eat this bloke. So, that was... that was me
funny.
too, mate.
That's fucking funny. Now, mate, we go to the good stuff. I went on YouTube last night, 2017, the D's v the Pies. What's his match-winning goal, mate? Talk me through it, because I watched it and I just thought the spread, the angle of your spread. I think it was Tay Adams. He won't like me saying it, but you got out the back of Tay and he was charging after you, but he didn't run a good pattern. Yeah. Talk to me about that experience, because that was a great moment, no doubt.
Yeah, no, it was. If I'm being honest, I can't remember much of it, in the moment. I was probably too fucked and, you're so tired by that stage. But yeah, just getting a little bit of redemption, a little bit of revenge. And obviously it's something that sticks with like the supporters and stuff. I still, today it's like everyone that I speak to, a big Melbourne supporter, they look back on that moment. It was like, fuck, how good was that? Watsy kicking the winner against the Pies and shoving it right up. And so yeah, those sort of moments are pretty special, and I guess you've got them forever, don't you? No one can take that away from me. And regardless of what happened in my career, hopefully I gave our supporters a bit of joy. Well,
you did, and that's one thing the great man Dommy Tyson said, because I don't know, I haven't been inside the four walls, and that's one thing. You were very loved by all the supporters and all the the fans, and at the family days, they used to just give you huge cheers because you gave so much of yourself. Like you said, you're an emotional guy, and you did everything. You did good by everyone, and he reckons that one thing that stood out to him was when you were top 5 at the BNF. He reckons the crowd just went wild, and it was like they hadn't really heard anything for that. They hadn't really. You come top 5. It's not like you won, but it was like they just wanted to see you do well, and that's pretty cool when you look back like that. You're getting those standing ovations from the crowd, and I mean, looking back, to say that you did so much in the community, that means more than fucking playing 300, let's be honest.
Exactly. And it's funny you say that. Like if you was to say, you know, what was my highlight of my career sort of thing, most people would pick out a game, you know, oh, we won this game or this final that we won or whatever. But, you know, for me, it probably didn't really have that many, you know, on-field highlights sort of thing that you can look back on. But I think, I think that's probably the thing that I'll look back on. And even my teammates, you know, the way that I would hope that they would speak about me, regardless of the footy side of things. But, you know, I think you know, a lot of my teammates would say that I had their back no matter what, and I was honest and open and made them feel welcome and loved. And yeah, obviously the supporters, you know, even when I got traded and just the uproar from the supporters, like, you know, that sort of means so much to me because, yeah, that's what I hang my hat on, you know, being a good person and treating people with respect and giving them the time of day. And, yeah, so that's sort of, those things were pretty special to me, I think.
Yeah, it's good. I'm glad the great man passed that on because it is important. And top five, did you have the bonus in there, mate? Did Paulie Connors and Mel weave that in there or what?
I think it was just a snuck into the top five thanks to Roosie and the boys just sneaking me in there in his last year. But yeah, there might have been a small little bonus, I'd say.
Oh, that is great. Now, mate, we're about to play some golf.
What have we got?
We've got 15 minutes here, so we'll be wrapping this up shortly. But now, there's a bit of drama, though, because I don't know whose fault it is, but me and you have both cost Dom Tyson the hole-in-one on the board.
Oh.
Because let's just let everyone know, and me and Dom are doing an exclusive on the actual ace, and he's got an announcement coming up in a couple of weeks, but you've pulled out the morning of. You've pulled out the morning of, and I don't have a fucking handicap. So we're both devils, mate. We've cost him.
I could not believe. So I think I must have been hungover or something.
No, I think you watched the F1
F1s.
I think you watched the F1 or there might have been the US Open or something was on.
Gotcha.
And you're like, mate,
I was just cooked, and I think it was a 9 a.m. tea time, 10 a.m. tea time or something.
Yeah, whatever tea time was. I got there like on the dot. And I go, where's Watsy? And he's like, he couldn't make it. He's pulled out late. It's just me and you, mate. And you can imagine, like, this is what happened at the first tee, you know? Like, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, he's not coming. I'm storming down because I thought I was going to be late.
Did you see it, or did he hit off before you were there? Or
Yeah, like, saw it.
You saw it, everything.
Mate, we're talking about you. I'm telling him about a story on the weekend because it's like Monday morning, like, you know, we're playing golf. And then the fucking thing goes in.
I can't believe it, honestly. And it's at his Riversdale. His grandpa's been a member for, 80 years or something?
100.
100 years. His family's just entrenched in the club. We're talking about the first, which is 205-metre, tough par 3. Like, Dommy's dream would be to have his name up on that board.
There's water down the bottom left. There's everything.
It's uphill, you know. And all he needed was for me to fucking man up and turn up and just be there.
You could have left after the first.
I could have just left. We would have been in the clubhouse. We wouldn't have left. We would have been sinking about 1,000 beers. But I haven't come, and I just remember getting a message from him like, I've just had a hole-in-one. Mate, I'm not joking. And he sends me this photo and he walks video. I think you're taking the video, and he's walking up, and I was like, because I've seen one hole-in-one in my life, and it was a mate down in we were at Ocean Dunes down in King Island, and one of my best mates hits this hole-in-one on this picturesque course over the ocean. And it was honestly the best thing I've ever seen live in sport, ever. We went berserk. And I was just thinking, if I was there for Dommy Tyson's first hole-in-one on his home track, mate, I'll never forgive myself. I don't think he'll ever forgive me either.
No, I don't think he will. And I won't forgive myself for getting the handicap. I got my handicap sorted last night. I just jumped on whatever website it is.
Beautiful.
So it won't cost anyone today if I need to. But mate, yeah, like so we've walked inside afterwards for it. We should have just, looking back, we should have went straight to the clubhouse. I know it was the first, but we couldn't concentrate for, I reckon, it genuinely 7 holes.
Yeah.
He was like shaking for 2. It was like I hit one. I was like, I'd never seen one.
You would have been more excited.
I'd never seen one. Like, I'm mid-story. I had to pause my story while he hit because it's a bit of respect. And then he's hit the fucking thing in. Mate, it was incredible. Incredible. What is your handicap at the moment?
I'm off about 10.
See, you're going well.
Yeah, I got into about 6 when I was over in Adelaide because just playing every week. and just playing a bit more often and playing the same course. Like I find when you play the same course over and over, you sort of get used to where you should miss and, you know the course a bit better, so it helps. But, yeah, got into about 6, now out to about 10, which is pretty juicy. So hopefully we'll do all right today.
The old bandit, you'll probably win the comp today. I think they gave me 29.1 on my handicap, which is so – I'm going to win the comp today. Like it's not right.
You actually got 29.
I went on last night, hooked it up.
I think you got to put in your three.
I put in 3 scorecards,
put in
but
your
I've
cards.
put in whatever I've had on my golf shot app. And it's yeah. I want to win the comp today.
29. You'll have 54 points and
mate, 29 is not right. Like I've been playing off 18 just to calculate in my head with the boys.
Yep.
And I'm around there. But yeah, 29.
29.
So I reckon I'll win the comp today, mate. I might be in the clubhouse. We might be a big day today.
It is a Friday, so I think we've earned it.
Now let's go to the segments here. We've got
right.
I've got one on the Caps. They're the home of headwear, mate, and I've hooked you up with a Boston cap. Our friends at Caps, they treat us here at the Aces.
Woo.
Look at that. You'll be wearing that on the golf course today.
Course.
And anyone out there, we've got the discount code ACES. So head to the website, www.caps.com.au. That's spelled with a Z, mind you, and use the discount code ACES at checkout if you want to look like Watsy. Now, great man, we've got 2 segments. One's the Caps moment and the Caps clanger. The moment is the greatest moment in your professional career. Now, it means it could be footy, it could be squash, it could be anything you're doing in between. What is Jack Watt's Caps moment?
Jeepers. My favourite moment in my career. Look, I guess, one of them was probably in that 18s Vic Metro side, kicking a goal on the siren, 3 points down to beat Vic Country on the G. That was pretty special. Every kid's sort of dream. Other than that, as we sort of said, there wasn't a huge amount of highlights on field. I look back, like I remember the tournament and the thing that sort of, I guess, meant the most to me. We won the under 16s Vic Metro, under 18s Vic Metro basketball national title. I was a captain, and it was sort of a lot of pressure and. Just a whole lot of work went into it. And I can just remember like the emotion afterwards. Like I was bawling my eyes out, crying, just so happy. And I look back on that as like, yeah, one of the sort of best moments just playing sport that I'd ever had. So they're probably the positives. And then obviously what we spoke about before, I think just the friendships and the, how the fans sort of receive me and that kind of thing has always been something that is really special to me.
They're great Caps moments. And I love the juniors moments as well because you just never forget them. It's probably the last time you really enjoyed it. And the national champs, that's special.
Yeah. Well, I was so lucky as a kid. Like I think I won, 6 or 7 footy flags with my junior club. And then, with basketball, we sort of won everything from 12s up until 16s, state titles, national titles. So, pretty lucky as a kid, just won everything. And then after that, didn't win a thing from as soon as you sort of go pro. So,
that's the hard thing, isn't it? You probably think I'm going to roll out and do the same thing. You get the opposite.
Spot on.
And it's like, how do you deal with that, which you have? But
exactly. You want my clanger, on-field clanger?
I'll give you the clanger last so you can think about it. While you're thinking of the clanger, I've got you the Tribeca Crystal Grey polarised RIXXs here, mate. You'll hit a hole in one of them today, I reckon.
Stop it.
They're on the house.
Thank you,
And again, anyone out there, if you want a pair of sunnies, blue light or prescription.
Look at these babies.
Head online. What do you think of them?
They are fucking...
Look at that. Use discount code ACES at checkout as well. You get 20% off and free express shipping. Yeah, they're my favourites, them ones.
Mate. That's unbelievable. They're sleek, aren't they?
Keep them on. I love looking at you while you tell me this. Now, this is one of me. I know you've travelled. You're a well-travelled man. So this will be an interesting one. You can only pick one location in the world.
Okay.
You've just sold squash for 10 billion, so money's not an issue.
Yep.
You can only pick one place in the world to retire. RIXX and retirement. Where's Jack Watts going to retire?
other than sort of heading over to, either New York or maybe I'd go and live with Tommy Bug, take over Zuz over in LA down at Venice Beach there. Other than that, I actually went over to my favourite holiday I've been on was in Nicaragua. Went over there, stayed at this eco lodge, totally away from everything. All your food is caught and cooked on site. The closest supermarket's 5 hours away. You got your own little private beach and blah, blah, blah. So if I was going to retire, I would probably just head off over there. No one would ever see me ever again. I'd turn into some hippie, and I think that'd be me.
There you go. Where's it called again?
Nicaragua. It's like Central America.
There you go. What's it? I can't even pronounce it. That's a first, and it'll probably be the last. That's a great little hidden gem as well.
That's right. Who
took you there?
It was me and an ex-partner. We just went over there, and she was living in Montreal at the time, so it was sort of like, find somewhere halfway, and both loved the beach, but then also wanted a bit of hiking and, something else. And then, this place just popped up.
The romantic.
It's just below Costa Rica, I think, or above, either one. So just around that area. But
there you go. And the name again?
Nicaragua.
Nicaragua. I'm not having a go at that. That's great. And to close it out, the Caps clanger.
The clanger.
The clanger. They all love the clanger. The media, they hate a fucking good one. They love a shit story.
Well, I've got this was the most embarrassing moment of my career. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube somewhere or something. And I actually became good mates with him later on because we played at Port Adelaide together. But Lindsay Thomas, big buffer Thomas, he played at North Melbourne obviously for most of his career and then came over to Port. But I'll never, ever forget, this was when we were in the depth of our sort of despair at Melbourne, and I think I'd been, they put me back because I hadn't had a kick for 3 quarters, so give him the kick outs, let's just try and get him a kick somehow. So put him back, and so then I'm taking the kick outs, and, same as you, I was like to fancy myself as a pretty good kick, so I'd be trying to pierce them through the middle and whatnot. So from the kick out, I've literally gone to try and hit this one up the middle, and I've kicked it to Lindsay Thomas on the mark. He's standing on the mark, and I think he might have even dropped it or something, so it's come forward. So I've rushed him to try and he's gone on the left, and I've just gone for the smother, and he's just gone, balked me. Absolutely sold me to the candy shop, balked me, walked around, walked into an open goal. We're probably down by about 80 points, and I just thought, get me out of here, honestly.
Trade me now.
Trade me, just retire me, dig me a hole, like I'm done. Like, where can you go from here? So.
And what did Lindsay say when you catch up for a beer? Did he love that one?
Yeah, he loved that later on in life.
It's like, mate, you could have just snapped it, but he's had to sell you the candy shop.
He had about 5 minutes to snap it while I'm coming at him, and he just had to whoop, over we go, waltz in. So that was
the Caps clanging. I love that, mate. Well, look, we're going to go play golf. I can't wait. And but yeah, thanks so much for your time. As always, we wish you nothing but success, and you're welcome back here anytime. You will be back here. We'll be talking a lot of American sport, golf, F1. I'll be throwing this on tonight. I think I've got dinner at the Albert Park Hotel, mate. So I'll be throwing the old Squash Recreational Club on, and make sure you head online to Squash and grab some kit because it's very nice. But yeah, thanks, mate. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to another episode. If you enjoy listening to our podcast, please feel free to hit us up on our social channels at Ausmerican Aces. If you're entertained, inspired, or feel more educated, please share it with your friends and family because we appreciate the support. Righto, catch you on the next one.